It's time for the NFL, a presidential address, week 10. Just to recap, had a dreadful week last week. My first real bad week of the whole entire season. Went 4-9 for you guys on all the plays, top to bottom. Went 1-3 for my clients, but nailed the teaser again and nailed my best bets again. Went 2-1 in my best bets. Had Kansas City -7 to go 3-0. Almost swept. Best bet record, 19 wins, 7 losses, 1 push. That's on this show, my 3 best bets every week, which we'll give out at the end of the show. And teasers, nailed it. Had Miami and Kansas City, now 6-1 on the teasers. Other than that, I just want to let everybody know I'm rolling in the NBA. Take advantage of that. I'll have plays every single day up around noon Eastern time. And in NFL for my clients, still having an outstanding season, up big, and looking forward to bounce back week. Well, let's get into it, everybody. Let's start with Thursday night. Baltimore -7.5 versus Miami, a total of 46.5. We do have a 47 out there, but on a whole, these lines have held pretty steady. Let's get into this game. Jackson, Lamar, first quarterback this season to win 3 games in which he trailed by double digits. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, they won them, so it's good. But man, they are really struggling in the first half of games. This is such a great in-game betting scenario. Hope Miami goes up quick, and then we'll jump in on Baltimore in-game. But as for now, man, this Ravens team is never out of it. But how good are they? Well, they lost to Cincinnati. They barely beat Detroit. They should have lost to Minnesota. Now, that's a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas, but the fact is they've won those games, and they're still the most overrated team in football from my perspective. I want to play against teams that win through smoke and mirrors, and that's what Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens have been doing. First off, they aren't exactly covering big spreads. Now they're -7.5. And second, the smoke and mirrors will come to an end. This team is going to hit the skids, folks. Just maybe not Thursday night. Miami finally won a game, but really what a piss-poor effort against the Texans. 5 turnovers, no real offensive movement. The Finns won despite themselves. What do you do in this game? Well, I'm going to pass. Sorry about that, guys. You might hear that a lot this week and moving forward, but a pass counts. I don't know how to bet an over with Miami involved. I don't know how to bet an under with Baltimore involved. And I don't like Baltimore -7.5. Like, if a gun was held to my head, I'd take Miami. But alas, it's not. We're passing. Next up is Jacksonville versus Indianapolis. And wow, Jacksonville killed it last week against Buffalo. A whole lot of field goals in that game. Look, their offense was anemic, but their defense played absolutely outstanding. Don't look now, folks. But Urban and the Jacksonville Jags have won 2 of their last 3 games. Also, side note, 6 of their last 7 games have gone under the total. Indy's offense clicking. Over 40 points against the Jets, and they have scored over 30 points against their last 4 opponents. I expect Indy to put up 31 points minimum against the Jags on Sunday, and I understand Buffalo was only able to put up 6. I get it. Look, Buffalo was all out of sorts. It was one turnover after another, bad play calling. Josh Allen couldn't get his act together. I put that game up as a total anomaly. Indy's going to have no issue scoring on this Jacksonville team. And Indy has allowed teams to score around 24 points a game against them. They're also 23rd against the pass. I think we're going to get 17-20 from Jacksonville in this game. My pick on this game, take Indy minus the 10 and take the over 47.5. Predicted score of 34-20. That's 54 points. Also, 4 points to spare on the side and a shit ton to spare on the over. Indy and the over. Next, we got Cleveland playing New England. And just for the record, I was on Carolina last week. I'm not high on the New England Patriots. They are 5-4 this season and surprising the crap out of me. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm having a great NFL season so far, and I'm going to keep with how I've been handicapping. I think Cleveland is a much better team. And look, we got injuries all over this game. Harris, the running back for New England, questionable, and he would be a huge loss if he doesn't play. Is that offset by the fact that Hunt and Chubb are out? I say no. We've already seen the Browns play without these two, and they keep running and running and running. Their O-line might be the MVP of the season, and that shouldn't change on Sunday. I don't think New England is nearly as good as their record. I think Cleveland is way better than their record. I'm getting them at plus 1.5 dog. I'm taking that. I think Cleveland wins this game outright. Take Cleveland and the points. Next up, we got Atlanta playing Dallas. The line is 9.5. The total is a gaudy 54.5. And well, oh my God, the Falcons, they were up double digits in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And they lost the lead. Yeah, I know. Who knew would have thought that? But wait, they then took the lead back. And they won the game with a last-second field goal. Way to go, Atlanta. Anyway, Dallas, just a whole bunch of oh my gods for them. What a disaster game against Denver last week. Could not get in sync. The real surprise wasn't only that their offense just couldn't get going, and they have the most prolific offense in football right now. It's that their defense couldn't get going, and their defense were expected to be bad entering the season, but really have been quite good, except for last game. Even after Dallas stunk it up last week, they lead the leagues in yards gained. They're third in points scored. I don't see how Atlanta is going to stop this team. I got to tell you guys, I can't take Dallas minus 9.5. I can't take over 54.5 with a game that Atlanta is involved in. I regretfully have to pass, but feel free to stick Dallas with Tampa Bay and Arizona in a 3-team 10-point teaser. Next up is the Bills minus 13 against the New York Jets. It's now been bet down to minus 11.5. 47.5 is the total. There's clearly money coming in on the Jets. And I hate to tell you this, guys, but I'm passing in this game too. And I'll tell you why. What a debacle last week for the Bills. You would think that this is a great spot for them after such a terrible loss. Now they're facing the Jets. I don't know. I honestly have no clue. We keep thinking the Bills are amazing. Are they? I mean, they're losing games badly. They lost to Tennessee, and then they lost to Jacksonville. Now, I get it, man. Tennessee lost to the Jets. I get it. Everybody has bad games. But Buffalo really hasn't been consistently good this year. As for the Jets, who the hell knows what's going to happen with the Jets? Sorry about that. Mike White going to be their quarterback. I would bet the over here, guys. I'm going to pass on this game. I'm not going to bet any of my money, but if I had to bet anything, I would take over the total of 47.5. Also, pay attention to weather now. It is in New York. It is getting cold. It is getting windy. So stay focused on the weather report as well. Next up, we've got New Orleans versus Tennessee. I have been high on Tennessee all year. Guys, I mean, legit, if I could roll Tennessee up in a blunt and smoke it, I would. That's what a good buzz this Tennessee team would give me. I think they're a real Super Bowl contender, even without the King. Last week, they demolished the Rams. But what was more impressive was their defense. They held the Rams to no touchdowns when it actually mattered. Tennessee's D has 11 turnovers in their past 6 games. And against the Rams, they scored 14 points off of those turnovers. How about the pass rush? Last year, Tennessee couldn't find a pass rush. This year, they are absolutely dominating. 13 sacks in 6 games. Now they play Trevor Siemian and the New Orleans Saints. I expect much more of the same. I will say that 195 yards of total offense in their first game without the King is not very good. But it's good enough to beat the Rams. Why shouldn't it be good enough to beat the Saints at home? I'm picking Tennessee here, guys. I think the New Orleans Saints season is done. They're missing, obviously, Michael Thomas. They've been missing him all year. Now they've lost their quarterback. Their defense is playing really well, but I just think they're going to absolutely struggle to move the ball. Take Tennessee minus the 3. Next up is Tampa Bay against Washington. We got minus 9.5 for Brady and the Bucks against whoever and the whoever's in Washington, a total of 51 and a half. Guys, I got to tell you, 51 is a crucial number when betting totals. If you get 51, take this game over. If you get 51 and a half your bet, still take it over, but only half your bet. That extra half point is massive. We saw it with the Chargers last week. Sometimes the only way to get over is a 24-24 tie and a field goal to take it to 51. That's what happened with the Chargers last week. I obviously don't expect a 24-24 tie in Tampa Bay and Washington, but please be careful on 51 and a half. Let's look at this game. Both teams coming off of a bye. I don't know if that matters. I mean, I think it matters to a degree. Brady's old. He's given his arm a rest. And one thing about Washington is I think they come out with a little bit more oomph with their offense, maybe some trick plays that they've been working on for the last 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. But here we have a situation where Tampa Bay is the number 1 scoring team in all of football, over 32 points a game. They are the number 1 passing team in all of football. Washington, number 25 in the league in scoring, just under 20 points a game. It's about a 13-point differential between these two teams. Washington is 20th in passing, but how do you fix your passing attack? Play the Tampa Bay secondary, 20th in the league in pass D. Now, I know if you watched WagerTalk today, on Wednesday, Teddy went on and on about, whoa, the Tampa Bay D, pass D is much better than their numbers because they get ahead all the time and then the other team has to throw the ball. Well, guess what? They're going to get ahead in this game, and Washington's going to have to throw the ball. Who is the worst pass D in all of football? Washington. Take over the total in this game, guys. This might make my card. Over 51. If it's 51 and a half your bet. Next up, Detroit against Pittsburgh. Now, I was mocking Pittsburgh at the beginning of the season. Okay, I always mock Detroit. But I really thought Pittsburgh was going nowhere. Here they sit, 5-4, winners of a bunch of games, not in a row, but over a stretch period. Big Ben last week had pretty good numbers, over 200 yards passing, a good completion percentage, touchdowns here or there. The Pittsburgh defense is looking good as well, but man, I just don't buy this team, and I refuse to. -9 for Pittsburgh. I don't care, man. This team struggles to score. End of story. And Detroit, well, they lost to the bye last week, making them 0-9 on the season. But that's okay. They've hung tough in a bunch of games. They obviously come off that terrible game against Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. But before that, they almost beat the Rams. They almost beat the Ravens. I see no reason why Detroit can't keep this game close. My pick in this game, Detroit plus the 9, and sprinkle a little bit on the money line. This is the game that they're going to win, folks. Next up, Minnesota versus the Chargers. Oh my God, Minnesota. Anyway, I gave out the Chargers as the best bet on the show last week and it cashed. I see no reason why not to keep playing this team. I love Herbert, love him. And he didn't disappoint last week. Went 32 for 38. That's incredible. 356 yards, 2 touchdowns. Their issue right now, though, is their secondary, and it has been decimated. Samuel Jr., gone. Davis, gone. Do you like that? Anyway, now they're using practice squad guys. The Vikings should be able to rip this secondary apart. Speaking of the Vikings, they're like the hottest woman on the planet that doesn't put out. I mean, imagine you spent 5 years chasing this woman. We'll call her Sam Ponder. You have a great date, wonderful eye candy, and yet she leaves you standing at the door with blue balls. That is the Minnesota Vikings. Every time you think the Vikes will score, they don't. Every time you think they suck, they don't. But in this game, I just can't see the Chargers secondary holding the Vikings down. I'm going to pass sidewise, although I do lean on the Chargers. My play here, over the total of 50 points. 53. How about that line move? It was 50 yesterday. Now it's 53. I still like over the total, folks. I think this is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the weekend. Next up, Carolina plus 10 against Arizona, 44 on tap. Holy crap, on 2 accounts. I did not see the Cards dominating the Niners like they did. And holy crap, how is Sam Darnold still in the league? Although he looks like he's out now because he's got a fractured shoulder or whatever. I think the guy's got a fractured everything. I think his bank account is about to get fractured. Anyway, the Cards have put up 30 points for 7 times this season. 30 points or more 7 times this season. How the hell will the Panthers hang with that? Against the Niners, Zona had 5 sacks. 5 sacks. And they have had 5 or more sacks 3 times this season. Those are sick numbers. I fear forever is the QB for Carolina. With all that said, we're passing on this game. I can't take Arizona minus 10. I certainly can't take an over with Carolina, and I can't take an under with Arizona. So this game ain't making my card. Now we're talking Green Bay. Minus 3 versus Seattle. 49.5 is the total. We still don't know whether Aaron Rodgers is going to play or not. He has to pass the COVID test. I think he does that on Saturday. We're going to find out late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. However, here's how I look at this game. If Rodgers plays, this is a monster betting opportunity. This guy is angry. He's pissed off. He is mad at the world. He wants to show his alpha dominance. He is going to light it up. If he doesn't play, I like Seattle. I don't know how much I can help you there, guys. My pick is Green Bay minus 3 with Rodgers in, Seattle plus 3 with Rodgers out. Simple as that. Now we got Philadelphia versus Denver. Philadelphia plus 3. There's a 2.5 out there, and 45 is the total. What do we know about these teams? Well, let's start with Philly. We know they can score, and we know they can't stop the pass. Herbert last week was the 5th quarterback to complete 80% or more of his passes against the Eagles. That is outrageous. The Eagles D generated two pressures, 0 sacks. Yes, 0 sacks. This team is a mess. As for Denver, who are they, man? Catfish. That's what I think about with Denver. Catfished. You're chatting online with this hottest woman ever. Then you only find out she's a man. You're chatting online with a man. Then you find out she's a woman. That's what Denver is. 1 week they can't stop anyone. The next week, they're the best offense in football. One week, a team scores 1 million against them. The next week, they can't score any against them. How do you bet this team? How do you bet this game? Like someone you aren't attracted to in a line of hotties, you just move on. Kansas City -2.5 versus Vegas. 51.5 is the total. What is going on with this Chiefs team? Man, they're finding ways to win, but not very impressively. 13 points against the Packers? That's just not good enough. Both Vegas and KC are middle of the pack in scoring, averaging around 25 points a game. However, Vegas is second in the league in passing. Kansas City is 6th in the league in passing. I gotta take the over, guys. I know that Kansas City is struggling offensively. I get it. I think this game is going to be a shootout. It's on prime time. I think we're going to see a good effort from both these teams. Derek Carr's played fairly consistent all year. Patrick Mahomes is still one of the greatest. I mean, he's obviously not having the season that he was hoping for, but he's still Pat Mahomes. I like over the total in this game. And now we got the Rams -4 playing the 49ers. The Rams were all out of sorts offensively last week versus the Titans. Stafford, 2 interceptions on back-to-back throws, and this game was basically over before it begun, and they just couldn't get going at all. The Rams' biggest issue, period, is their offensive line. They were just pushed around by the Titans last week. Stafford literally got sacked 4 times in the first half. None of them were blitzes. None. That's how bad the Rams' offensive line is. San Francisco, they're a shell of a team they were 2 years ago. And, you know, we saw at the beginning of the year, everybody really liked San Fran. They thought they were going to make a run for the playoffs. I didn't. You can go back to my original show. I told you San Fran was shit. They are shit. Anyway, pick on this game. Rams all day and over the total of 49. Look, San Fran is scoring, guys. Debo is second in the league in yards caught, second behind Cooper Kupp, which, by the way, Cooper Kupp, second wide receiver in history to achieve 1,000 yards or more in his first 9 games, and the only one to do it with 10 touchdowns to boot. He's having an MVP-like season, although wide receivers don't win MVP awards. Who will? Matthew Stafford. Check out his odds, guys. There's a totally off-topic piece of advice for you. Take Matthew Stafford to win MVP. Jimmy G's throwing the ball. Rams are scoring around 29 points a game. My predicted score, 31-24 Rams. That gives you the Rams at -4. That also gives you the over. And that, my friend, is the card. All right, that's the NFL card, top to bottom. Time for Manny's favorite segment, Andy Lang joining us. 3 props, 3 minutes. Andy, no time for niceties. I hand the mic to you.
All right, thanks, Prez. 2-1 last week, hoping for another winning week. We're going to start with the Thursday night game. Marquise Brown over 56.5 yards receiving. I'm sure this number is going to move up. I'm guessing it'll be around 60.5 by kickoff. I'll still take it. He continues to be one of the most underrated wide receivers in the prop world and in fantasy football. Continues to get low numbers, so I'll happily take his over yet again. He's gone over this total in 6 out of 8 games this season. He's had 26 targets the last 2 weeks. And people also get a little confused to his nickname, Hollywood. It's not nicknamed Hollywood because of Hollywood, California. It's because from Hollywood, Florida area. Lamar Jackson is also from that area, and make no mistake, this is a home game for these two guys, and they are going to put on a show. They played in Miami in 2019, and they put up 59 points, and they love playing down there, and they are legends. Marquise had 147 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. I expect a big performance from Lamar and Marquise. This number's too low. I'm glad he continues to be undervalued. I'll take the over. Also, like the Titans, over 11.5 first half points. The Titans are the 3rd best first half scoring team in the NFL this season. Over the last 3 weeks, they're the 2nd best first half scoring team averaging 20.7 points in the first half. They're coming off a 21-point first half against the Rams, a really good defense. The Saints have a great defense as well, but I don't believe in the Saints quarterback situation with Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill. And with the Titans defense getting healthy, they can cause turnovers. They can cause short possessions for opposing teams, giving their offense more possessions. I think this number is a bit low with Derrick Henry being out. I do like their new trio of running backs. I kind of like what I saw from them. I think they can keep the Saints defense on their toes. A.J. Brown, Julio Jones can obviously be problems for the defenses. I like Tennessee to get up early on New Orleans. This 11.5 point total in the first half is too low. I'll take the over. And I got to go Kyle Pitts over 67.5 yards receiving. This number is going to go up as well. He's just really coming on as the season moves on. Last week, the stats sheet says he only had 3 catches for 62 yards. That stat line should have been way better. He dropped an easy long pass that hit him right in the hands, a pass that he catches 99 times out of 100. The week before, he had a bad game against Carolina, but the Panthers are a top 10 defense against tight ends. The 2 previous games for Pitts, he had over 100 yards, and this week he plays against the Cowboys. They give up 60 yards a game to tight ends, and Kyle Pitts is going to be the best receiving tight end they've seen this season. This game could turn into a shootout if the Cowboys get on track. I would play Kyle Pitts over this total all the way up to 75 yards. I think he has a great game. So we'll take Marquise Brown over 56.5 yards receiving all the way up to 60.5. Take the Titans over 11.5 points in the first half, and Kyle Pitts over 67.5 receiving all the way up to 75. Those are your 3 props. Back to you, Prez.
Okay, time for our best bets and teasers. My best bet, Sam Ponder. I got a thing for Sam Ponder. What can I tell you guys? Christian, if you're out there, tell her to call me. Sam, call me. Anyway, best bets for week 10. Tampa Bay over 51. Detroit +9, and Green Bay -3. The Green Bay one is if Aaron Rodgers plays. If he doesn't play, that bet is canceled, and we will only have 2 best bets for this week. As for a teaser, I mentioned earlier, I told the production department I don't have a teaser, but I have changed my mind since then. We are taking a 3-team 10-point teaser the old-fashioned way. Bring them all down to a pick'em. Indianapolis, Arizona, and Tampa Bay. Indianapolis, Arizona, Tampa Bay, 3-team 10-point teaser. Guys, it's a pleasure doing this show. I can't thank you enough. The comments have been amazing. Your loyalty and support have been incredible. For the guys who have bad things to say about me, I love you to death. Other than that, the show is dedicated to Sam Ponder. I'm the Prez, and we'll see you next week.